Marvel Studios is finally rebooting the X-Men, and everything that we're hearing is pointing to a completely different direction than we have ever seen before. A younger team, new leadership, brand new casting rumors, and even the villains that could shape the entire Mutant Saga. Here's everything we know so far about Marvel Studios' X-Men reboot. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Nerds of the Multiverse channel. Today we're breaking down all of the latest updates, rumors, and new details that we have when it comes to the new X-Men franchise. How it's being built, who might be appearing in it, and what this means for the future of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So, let's talk about the people who are building this film. We've talked about it in videos past. Jake Schreier, the director of the Thunderbolts, is the director of this film as well. So, that's awesome. Lee Sung-jin is currently working on the new script alongside Giancarlo. The original draft was written by Michael Leslie. Lee Sung-jin also has shared that the director, Jake Schreier, wants to breathe a fresh, brand new life into this franchise, and that they are meeting regularly with Kevin Feige and Louis D'Esposito. Something that I've expressed in past videos that I still think is going to be a very good dynamic for this movie is the team aspect. Having Jake Schreier come in, I think, is a perfect choice, seeing how he dealt with the Thunderbolts and all of their different personalities and building them up to be a team that we actually very much enjoyed and the box office did not reflect. I think it's going to be very, very good for this group of young, because they're going to be young in this film. They're young teenage kids, and they're coming into this fresh. They're building a brand new team. They all have different powers, different personalities, and it's going to be really cool to see how Jake Schreier tackles building that team together. So I think that's going to be a very, very good fresh start for the X-Men in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Jake Schreier has also said that he wants to do something new. He wants to take the less trodden path for the X-Men because he doesn't want to just do stuff like we've seen. We've seen Dark Phoenix Saga twice, and neither one of them was good. Do we get one later in the future? Maybe. It'd be a difficult thing to try to correct because it's been bad, and I don't know if we need it again. But he wants to do a lot of brand new things. He's just been talking about how he's been reading a lot of the Chris Claremont run, which is awesome. 90s X-Men, baby. Doesn't get better than that. So I think that this is going to be something unique. It's not going to feel like the other films, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that in detail later on, but I think it's going to be a good representation of what the X-Men should be. So what kind of X-Men story are we actually going to be getting in this movie? The reboot will focus on a younger team that grows over time with a strong coming-of-age focus. They are also saying that as of right now, the core members of the group is supposed to be the original 5 X-Men. For those of you who do not know, when the X-Men debuted in the 60s, the original 5 X-Men were Cyclops, Jean Grey, Beast, Iceman, and Angel. So all 5 of them are said to be the core main members of the group. But it likely will not stop there. They are said to have a few more additional members to this group as well. So we can all speculate who that will be. There's different casting rumors that we're going to talk about in a little bit. That's kind of like, okay, it might be this person. So definitely comment down below who you guys want to be a part of the team, the first team, and who you think would be the best person to play them. Another major detail is Wolverine will reportedly not be a part of this team. Myself personally, I don't give a lot of my opinions on these types of videos. Normally I just give the facts and that's it. But my personal opinion when it comes to Wolverine not being on this team, I'm okay with it for now. Because when it came to the 2000s X-Men films, Hugh Jackman, who was great, one of the best parts of all those movies because, there's not a lot of redeemable factors about them. However, Hugh Jackman was such a big focus and Wolverine was such a big focus that it felt more like they were just Wolverine movies with different mutants that were surrounding him rather than being true X-Men stories. Like, we get the real X-Men feel when we watch X-Men the Animated Series or X-Men 97, and I hope that that's the kind of feeling that we get when we watch the movies. I don't necessarily want it to be just a Wolverine movie. I don't want it to just be a Cyclops movie. I want it to be a team movie. And I think the fact that they are leaving Wolverine sidelined for now, and maybe they'll bring him in the future, which I hope they do. I hope he does become a part of the team. Whether that's a new actor or they bring in Hugh Jackman, because Hugh Jackman right now is said to be staying around for the foreseeable future after Secret Wars. He'll probably do a lot of projects with Deadpool and Ryan Reynolds. So If we brought in a new Wolverine later on, or they brought in like Old Man Hugh eventually, I think that'd be fine. But especially with this being a young team, I know Wolverine's a lot older than all the other mutants normally, but having such a massive age gap within the story for the actors, I'm not crazy about. So I kind of hope that eventually we do get a new Wolverine, or maybe they'll bring in X-23 played by Daphne Keane. We'll have to wait and see on that. But I'm okay with Wolverine not being a part of the film, at least right now. Cyclops and Jean Grey right now are both being positioned to be the co-leaders of the team as well, and I'm perfectly okay with that. So far for what we've talked about, comment down below your thoughts for the team and what you think about possible core aspects of the group. Something that we need to remember too, this is not just a one-off movie. It's a massive setup. The whole next saga is called the Mutant Saga, with the Cosmic Saga kind of being like the part 2 of it, but mutants are going to be the main focus. Kevin Feige has explicitly said that they have a 10-year plan right now. It could even go longer for the Mutant Saga. And it reminds you a lot of what the Infinity Saga was. 10 years mapped out, perfectly executed, very well done. And I think that it's going to be big. And they've been planning it for years. It's not just been, oh, we're planning it in 2025. That's it. This has been something they've been talking about. And they've been prepping a lot. So I think it's going to be very, very good. Thing is, though, is they've also talked about not just having X-Men films, but also mutant-related projects. I don't know whether that be a spotlight or if it's going to be a series, but they are talking about having other mutant projects that are outside of the core team. So I think that's pretty cool as well. Like, we could see like a Wolverine show. Wolverine could be doing his own thing, just not part of the X-Men team, and I'd be perfectly fine with that. Or other characters. We get to see like the origins of Gambit. We get to see the origin of Nightcrawler, stuff like that. I think that that'd be really, really cool, especially if you want to have a team already being established and started maybe in Secret Wars, and then we get to see kind of the origins of other people. They bring them into the team, and we get the origins of the core group throughout the X-Men films. I'd be perfectly fine with something like that. I actually think that that'd be one of the best case scenarios. Now, let's get into one of the biggest talking points about all of this, and that is the casting. Because right now, the X-Men casting announcement is being heavily rumored to take place at San Diego Comic-Con this July, possibly being even the biggest event of the entire convention. So we've talked a lot before about some of the rumored castings in previous videos, like we talked about Cyclops possibly being Jack Champion. We've talked about Julia Butters possibly playing Kitty Pryde, Mark Qualley possibly playing Rogue, but we've got some new names in the mix today. So, like we mentioned, Cyclops, Jean, Angel, Beast, Iceman are the core 5, and some other members will be in there. And Sadie Sink is most likely playing Jean Grey. So I think that that's one that we could possibly rule out already. We'll have to wait and see for Spider-Man, but a lot of us are pretty sure. But some new names that are being thrown into the mix is one, Peter Claffey, who is said to be playing Beast. He's being eyed for the role of Beast, which makes sense going along with the core 5. I hope we get a couple movies with him in his original suit before he ends up becoming blue and furry because of his mutation. And then we also have the actress Odessa A. Zion, and she is being eyed for the role, not of a key member, but of Rogue. So Rogue's possibly going to be a member of this core team, which I think would be great. I love Rogue. And I think if you have Rogue, you have to have Gambit, which we're going to talk about a rumor in a second. Trinity Jo Lee Bliss has responded to the rumors of her possibly playing Jubilee. We've talked about that in the past a little bit. She's not currently been asked about it, apparently, but she is very much open to playing the role. And she looks like Jubilee. She could do great. So I think that that would be a phenomenal casting. And then we have some of the bigger casting rumors. These are two big names, and they've talked about wanting several big name actors in this franchise, like we talked about before, like Sadie Sink coming from Stranger Things. If she's Jean Grey, that's a big name. We've mentioned this one a little bit before when it's come to Professor X, but Giancarlo Esposito is apparently still on the table to be playing this role. I've not heard much more about Magneto since the original videos we made on this topic, but Giancarlo is still one that's, over the last couple months, he's still been heavily rumored to be in the mix for the X-Men franchise. So he could be possibly playing Charles Xavier. And then this is possibly one of the biggest ones of all, which I know this one's going to cause a lot of controversy amongst fans. Because a lot of people really like Channing Tatum in the role of Gambit. If we're going to see him continue to play Gambit after Secret Wars, we might not even have Channing Tatum past Avengers Doomsday, so we'll kind of have to wait and see what his fate will be. But right now, the rumor is that one of the actors who's in the mix to play Gambit in the MCU is possibly Timothée Chalamet, which that's a big name actor. I know there's some controversy around him right now. Personally, I enjoy Timothée as an actor. Do I see him playing Gambit? Not necessarily. Could he? Yes, I think he could do any role that he wanted. But that's an interesting question. I personally see Timothée Chalamet as more of a Harry Osborn type casting. So I don't know. And I think Channing Tatum's going to steal some hearts, especially when Doomsday gets here. So I don't know if I like that potential casting. I hope that they give some deep thought and consideration to this choice, because I think Gambit's going to be one that's going to make or break people's opinions of this movie before it even comes out. So that's something to be on the watch for. So based on current reports, rumors, this could potentially be the X-Men that are in the mix for this film. Whether they will all be on this team in this movie or not, whether they'll have this many members, I don't know. But these are the names that we've heard so far. Obviously, we have Cyclops, Scott Summers. We have Jean Grey, Marvel Girl. We have Hank McCoy, Beast. Bobby Drake, Iceman. And Warren Worthington, Angel. Remy LeBeau's Gambit. Anna Marie, Rogue. Kitty Pryde as Shadowcat. We have Jubilation Lee, or Jubilee. And we have even Nightcrawler, Kurt Wagner's Nightcrawler. So I would love to see all of those characters. I think that'd be a very good mix of a team. Are we going to get 10 members on a team in the first film? I don't know about that. That might be a little bit excessive for the very first film. I could see us having somewhere between the 7 and 8 mark, maybe even. I don't think it'd be bad if we had 10, though. I like all the characters, so I'm kind of like, I'd love to see them all. So I'll leave that up to you. What's the perfect number of X-Men team members for this first film? And then, of course, we have Professor X, Charles Xavier. That's a must. Now let's talk about the villains. We've talked about this briefly in the past, but right now the two main villains that are supposed to be the main villains for the overarching story of the X-Men franchise are going to be Mr. Sinister and Apocalypse. So we have Mr. Sinister is a big threat. So we're going to have a lot of cloning, mutation, stuff like that going on. Apocalypse is the big world-ending threat. He's going to be our new Thanos. But even earlier in the mix, one of the characters that they're talking about earlier franchise, possibly being Mojo. So the Mojoverse might be showing up. We've talked about Krakoa being a possible proponent as a location, so maybe we'll get some people trying to go to Krakoa. I've even heard the Shadow King could be in play. So there are a lot of X-Men villains, so many, and it's going to be crazy to see who they pull. But Mr. Sinister and Apocalypse seem to be confirmed at this point. They seem to be the big bads, and I'm down for both of them. I'm ready to see Mr. Sinister in live action for the first time. I think it's going to be great. So let's talk about the MCU connections now, because how is this going to fit into the grand scheme of things? Well, right now I think they've been setting it up for a while. The reboot seems like it's going to have a direct tie-in immediately, because the Department of Damage Control is reportedly going to be the new anti-mutant task force / enforcement agency, and this is going to be a lot more prevalent, I believe, starting in Spider-Man Brand New Day. We've seen them show up early on. We've seen them in She-Hulk. We've seen them in Ms. Marvel. We've seen them in No Way Home. We saw them in Wonder Man. We're going to see them in Brand New Day because they are reportedly after Sadie Sink's character, which is another reason why I believe she's a mutant. And Jean Grey, I think, is most likely. So they are heavily going to be in the future of the MCU. And we have the head of them, which is most likely going to be the character William Metzger, who is played by Tremel Tillman. He's going to be the head of the department, and he is going to be making his debut in Spider-Man Brand New Day. If you guys do not know who William Metzger is or how he plays into the comics or possibly the MCU, check out these two videos because they explain all that you need to know. As far as when all of this is going to be taking place, like when this filming, when it's coming out, the X-Men reboot film is said to begin production once Secret Wars wraps. Secret Wars is going to be filming this year, so I could see them starting to film X-Men late this year, early next year, which would be fitting because right now it is currently slated to be released in just over 2 years on May 5th of 2028. So gives them a good amount of time, but Marvel's pushing it out. They are constantly working on something new. I think it's going to be quality though, especially because they've cut back as far as how many projects they're making, but they're working very hard on getting us these bigger titles out so we can not have to wait for the rest of our lives for big titles to come out. So right now, X-Men's going to be one of their top priorities very, very soon. So, yep, this is shaping up to be one of the most important projects in the MCU going forward. A full reboot, a younger team, and the start of what could be the next major saga of the MCU. Let me know what you guys think. Who do you want to be cast in these roles for the X-Men? Who do you want to be a part of the team? And are you excited for this brand new direction that they're going in? With all that being said, though, that is all I have for today's video. If you did enjoy it, please leave a like. And if you want to see more Marvel content, such as news, rankings, theories, lore videos, gaming videos, breakdowns, and more, make sure you hit the subscribe button and turn on post notifications so you never miss an upload. Also, for live updates, I am on social media. I'm on TikTok at Nerds of the Multiverse, on Instagram at The Nerds of the Multiverse, and on X at Nerds of the Mult 1. And also, if you've not already subscribed to the Nerd Bros Podcast YouTube channel, make sure you do so. It's a podcast between myself and the Nerds of Ren. It's Marvel, it's Star Wars, it's DC, and it's every Tuesday night. Brand new episodes coming out tonight, if this is airing today. But make sure you check it out. It's episode 41, and you do not want to miss it. But with all of that being said, I love you 3000, and I will see you in the next video.